Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for coming in on this Sunday late. Well, it's not really too late. It's 9:35, so we're still not that late like we have been in the past, like 10:35 or something like that. So we're still doing okay. Bitcoin overall this weekend was more or less flat. It was up on Saturday, down a little bit today, and we're trending upwards in the new day for Monday, at least right now. What else do we have here going on? We have also, well, not much else than that, I guess. But we will take a look at the miners, how they did for October. We have only now, I think, 5 miners reporting operational updates for their monthly operations. We don't have any more Core. We don't have Mara. We don't have Cypher, at least right now. And we don't have IREN as well. So the list is getting much smaller. Eventually, I think we'll probably do away with this. Going forward, we'll also take a look at the valuations currently for their megawatts that they have currently and future megawatts as well. And we'll get into Q&A. And then I got some good news stories as well. So let's get into it here. As always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what we got going on here with Bitcoin right now, at least. Like I said, over the weekend here, we were up on Saturday a little bit. We were up 1.1% right now. Sunday, we were down actually 1.42%. Today, on the new day for Monday, we are up 1.15%. We did end up closing the week here under the 50 SMA here. Obviously, this was a pretty rough week here. We were down 10.04% on the week, which was obviously not great. The miners got beat up as well tremendously here. Bitcoin actually didn't do that bad overall when we look at the weekly performance here on the miners. But yeah, it wasn't great. We'll take a look at some other things around surrounding Bitcoin and the current cycle that we're in. Much, much, much different from what we have seen in the past here. I mean, this year it's been what should have been a bull run with steam, powering the legs there and going all the way to the moon. Didn't happen. I mean, we got 225,000, something like that, but it's nowhere near what it should have been. So we'll take a look at that as well. We got some stories on that, but that's what we have right now with Bitcoin here happening. We'll see if we can bounce off of this. And again, right, we've had Bitcoin come down 30% here in the last year and a half, multiple times. And right now we are only, let's see here, from the bottom to where we came down here, we were down 26%. So we got pretty close to that 30% mark that we have seen also previously as well. So maybe that's just going to be one of those things where we correct 30% and then bounce from that. Obviously, before we didn't drop below the 50 SMA here. We did drop below it, but we didn't close below it at least. Those times, right? This time we did. Maybe that's going to be different here. Maybe we do go into a bear market. I don't know. I think everything I'm seeing here still points to an extended cycle with Bitcoin. Time will tell if I'm correct on that. I could be wrong, as always, right? Nobody really knows what's going to happen here in the future. We kind of look back what we have seen in the past and what we got going on right now, and it still kind of looks to me like we might be, like I said, possibly in an extended cycle here. That's kind of what my thinking is still right now. All right, miners here in the after hours right now. They're not doing too bad, actually. They're actually in the green here. BitDeer is up 3.52% after having a really rough week. We'll take a look at that one here in a second. Bitfarms is up 1.93%. Cypher is up 3.97%. So nice rebound there a little bit. We have, let's get rid of this. Cleanspark is up 2%. CORZ Scientific is up. Okay, it came down a little bit here, now up 4.55% in the pre-market hours. And then we got Hive here being up 3.32%. Hut 8 is up 2.08%. IREN here, let's see how that one's doing. That one's let's see. A lot of trading here happening right now on that one. All right, come on, catch up. We're not too far behind. At least we shouldn't be. There we go. It's up 3.64%. Mara is right now up 1.83%. And then we got, oh gosh, this analyze with AI. See, AI is getting everywhere. Riot Platforms is up 2.1%. And lastly, but not least here, TerraWolf right now is up 3.37%. So we've seen this in the past as well, where things go up for us, but then when the actual trading day comes in, we are lower at that point, and it looks like my screen is stuck again. Let's do this. So I'm keeping an eye on this, making sure that we bounce back on it. Okay, and there's a screen there. Hopefully you guys will see that again. So that's where we are with it all, and that seems to have fixed it. Okay. All right, so there's that. Bitcoin here for the month of October is now down 13.19% here. Much worse than what we had in October, which we thought October was going to be an Uptober, and November was going to be a green November for us. Well, that's not playing out the way we thought it was, at least not right now, unless we get we have to get a sizable bounce in the last 2 weeks of November here. As it is, we'll see if we get that. As you know, historically in bull runs, usually like October and November have been pretty good for us, except for back in 2021, right? November we're down 7.1%. 2017 we were up 53% in November, 47% in October. We are definitely not seeing that this time around here. So it is looking different all the way around. Bitcoin ETF inflows, we got some data on for Friday for IBIT there. They sold off 463 million. Total outflows for Bitcoin on the ETFs was 492 million there for the Friday there. And then looking at some of the things that we do have here, this is from the, I can't ever pronounce this, the Kobesi letter. Breaking the crypto fear and greed index falls to 10 extreme fear. This now ties the bottom seen in February of 2025, so just earlier this year. And then obviously we bounced off of that, so hopefully we do that again here. Next here we have this is from Cointelegraph Insight. Bitwise CEO says we're about to exit a bear market. So Hunter Horsley wrote, we talk about 4-year cycles, but the reality is that that model is based on the bygone era of crypto. Since the launch of Bitcoin ETFs and the new administration, we've entered into a new market structure, new players, new dynamics, new reasons people buy and sell. I think there's a pretty good chance that we've been in a bear market for almost 6 months now and are almost through it. The setup for the crypto right now has never been stronger. So pretty strong case for Bitcoin going up here further. And Bitcoin did get to a new all-time high, right? 125,000. But then we weren't able to sustain it. We came back down here, going down 26% from the top there, more or less. So it is looking totally different here. We'll see on that. This is from Bach here. Macro BTC tops always come with a blow off in the Z score, right? If this was true from truly the top, it would be the first crypto cycle in history to peak without a Z score warning spike, right? We saw one here in obviously 2011 or 2021, 2017 and 2013 as well, right? Each time they got really close to that spike there, the Z score on it. And we're right now trending on support line, more or less, on Bitcoin as it is right now. So we haven't seen that blow off top here on it or even gotten close to it anywhere near that. So that may be another sign that we are in a different cycle, potentially, like I said, potentially an extended cycle here. We'll see. Next year we have this from Mike Alfred here. Yes, totally makes sense that you should freak out and sell everything given the lack of demand for GPU, right? So this is from Precedence Research. GPU as a service market size 2025 to 2034 USD in billions here. We are right now in 2025, 4.96 billion. And then you got that going all the way up here to 31.89 billion in 2034. So the market is growing for AI. It is expanding. It is growing. And that's a good thing. That's what we want. We want to be in an industry that is growing, and that's kind of what we're seeing here, at least based on this research. Right? AI is not going anywhere. It's not a bubble. It's here to stay. And over time, it's only going to get better as time progresses. Okay? So there's that. And then the good news, obviously, we talked about this, I think, on Friday as well. But this is from Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google there. Today, we're announcing a new $40 billion investment in Texas through 2027 to build cloud and AI infrastructure and support thousands of new jobs. This includes new data centers in Armstrong and Haskell counties, and a major investment to strengthen energy resilience and abundance. We're also providing funding to more than double the projected pipeline of new Texan electricians to power the AI era. We've probably called the Texas home for 15 years. Thank you, Greg Abbott, for your continued support there. Now, those two counties, Armstrong and Haskell, I looked up those on the maps and compared them to where the locations are of the miners here. And the first one that we can see here is Haskell. So here's Haskell. You got basically Rochester, O'Brien up top. The cities are included in there. Paint Creek looks like as well. And if you zoom out, the closest town, big town that we have here is Fort Worth, probably. On this side of it, Abilene as well as down below, right? You have Fort Worth over here to the east of it, Abilene to the south of it. Now, when we look at the miners that we do have in the data centers that we have here, we got Abilene down here. Here is Haskell, right, county, which is this little red dot. I'm sure you guys probably can't see that, but here it is. Here's Haskell, and the only one that's close to it here is OpenAI Stargate. That's the only one that's really close to here, at least in that county there. So it doesn't look like there's anything. I was hoping there's going to be like Cypher in there or IREN, but based on at least Haskell, we're not seeing it there. The other one that we can look at here is the one that they mentioned was Armstrong, right? So if we look at Armstrong here, Armstrong County, Texas, Armstrong County, Texas. If we look at that one is just a little bit northwest of Haskell there. And you got the closest one, you got Amarillo, right? Is a big town here. You got Washburn, you got Wayside. It looks like it's not a lot of big cities happening around this area in this county at least. So when we look at Washburn here, based by Amarillo, on my map here, where's Amarillo? Childress, Amarillo. I should probably just type it in here and search for it. Let me see if we can pull this up really quick. Armstrong County, Texas. There it is. Okay, so it's basically right in this area. There's Amarillo, and again, right, pretty open spot. Not much going on here. The closest that we have as far as data centers, we got one here that is Hut 8's Vega site, and the other one is also, I believe, Hut 8's as well, Solid Creek. Other than that, and then you got Childress here for IREN as well. But right in this county, I mean, there's nothing there right now. So will the miners benefit from this expansion by Google in Texas in these two counties? I don't know. Right now, doesn't look like it, but you never know, right? They're saying they're targeting these two counties, but time will tell, I guess, if they do those or something close to those counties or not. That is still obviously all open for, I guess, news to come out on that. Okay, so there's that. But I think obviously Cypher, IREN, Hut 8, Cleanspark is in there now in Texas as well. Mara, who else am I missing there? BitDeer's in there. Everybody's kind of going into Texas right now. It's become a frenzy for data centers. So that bodes well, right? Investment is definitely happening here in Texas. Who's going to get the rewards of that? We don't know, right? We're hoping it's going to be one of those guys that we've invested in, IREN, Cypher, Cleanspark, BitDeer, whoever it might be, Riot, even, right? But we just don't know, all right? Just wanted to share that with you guys as I was looking at that earlier today. And then finally, let's get into the couple of things that we do have about the miners here really quick, which is the weekly review on them. Where are they right now from the 52-week highs and 52-week lows? And we'll take a look at that as well. And my screen is stuck again. Okay, this is getting pretty annoying here, but we have a quick fix. Okay, so when we look at this from the 52-week lows, how have the miners done compared to Bitcoin and other companies as well? Well, we can see here that that didn't fix it. You guys are still not seeing it. Oh, there it goes. Okay, we got a lag about 10 seconds or so. We can see here that IREN right now still doing really, really well. It's up 804% from its 52-week lows here. Cypher is doing exceptionally well also. It's up 672%. TeraWolf up 433%. Bitfarms even up 283%. Hut 8 is up 267%. Hive is 162%. CORZ is up 140%. Riot 125%. Cleanspark about 70%. BitDeer 53%. Bitcoin up 26% there. Marathon up 22%. Strategy is only up 2.7%. And Kango is actually up 2% from their 52-week lows here, right? And you can see how far away they are from their 52-week highs. A lot of these guys, except for Bitcoin's only away 25%. Everybody else is 30% or greater away from their 52-week highs here recently on that. And when we look at the performance here of the miners, this last week, it was not good at all. BitDeer was down 52% last week. It had a really, really rough week. Cypher was down 31%. Cleanspark, along with Hive, along with Bitfarms, were down about 30%. Core and IREN were down 26%. Marathon was down 24%. TeraWolf was down 21. Riot was down 18. Strategy was down 17, along with Hut 8. Kango was down 12. Bitcoin was down 9%. So Bitcoin being down 9%, the miners definitely got whacked on. It wasn't because of Bitcoin. I think, well, maybe a little bit on Bitcoin, but also on this whole narrative that's been kind of floating around on the internet that this is an AI bubble, which, again, I do not see this as an AI bubble. The growth is there. The revenues are there as well. and everybody's building out. You need a heck of a lot more megawatts to make the AI even smarter as time progresses here. So this is not stopping anytime soon here, I don't believe. Okay, there's that. We can see here the last 4 weeks have not been great on these guys here, and we'll look at the actual numbers here. From 4 weeks ago, everything is down. Biggest losers have been Bitdeer being down 55%, followed by Hive with 45%. Then you got Bitfarms 43, along with Cleanspark 43. So Bitfarms 44, sorry. And you can see the rest of them as well. Bitcoin's only down 15% from 4 weeks ago. From 8 weeks ago, things are starting to look a little bit different there. Cypher's still up 25%, along with Bitfarms being up 2%, IREN being up 11%, TeraWolf up 1%, HUT being up 11%. Bitcoin's down 14%, and you got quite a few of the miners down below here that are in the red. And then 12 weeks, definitely a different story at that point. We do still have quite a few that are in the red. Bitdeer, Marathon, Strategy, Kango, and Bitcoin being down in the red, and everybody else here is in the green, at least somewhat or quite nicely here, right? Cypher still up 88%, Bitfarms up 93%, IREN up 75%, HUT being up 30%, and everybody else here as that looks. Okay, but here's what we had. It's been a rough couple of weeks here for these guys here. Unfortunately, going back, for quite a while here. So Bitcoin has done actually better here in the last couple of weeks. It's not down as much as some of these other ones, but still going far enough back, you can see how these guys have outperformed here. And if you got into them within the recent 52-week lows here on these guys, you're still sitting pretty well if you haven't already taken profits on these guys. All right, so that's it. That's all I got for you guys here. Oh, that's not L. We also want to take a look at the market cap per megawatt. That was the other thing we want to take a look at here. So here's the recent numbers that we have for these guys based on the megawatts that they have going for them. So we got megawatts currently, which are like the pale blue figures, right? And then we have the megawatts pipeline that they have that it's going to get them up much higher here. So you can see at least where they are right now with megawatts and where they're going. Cypher obviously has a huge amount of growth here still left. So does obviously IREN, Marathon, Riot even, Cleanspark as well, Core, Bitdeer, right? All of these guys still have a lot of growth in them. Even Bitfarms at roughly 2 gigawatts there potential in the next couple of years. So all of these guys have a lot of megawatts that will be coming out. And you guys can't see it again because my screen froze again. All right. Okay. Should fix it now. Sorry about that, guys. I'm waiting for the update on the software. Yeah, we'll have to unfortunately battle through it. So there you go. There's a chart on it. You guys can see all the megawatts, right, on these guys. Take a screenshot of it if you want, whatever you want to do. But you obviously can see where they are right now and where they are going. So that's great to see there. And then when we look at the current megawatts, market cap per megawatts on these guys here, this is as of Friday figures for all these companies here. We can see that Hive is only getting $1 million per megawatt for current, right? Bitdeer $1 million as well. Cleanspark about $2 million. Core about $3 million. Bitfarms $4 million. Marathon a little bit more than $4 million. Riot a little bit, probably closer to $4.5 million there. It seems like. TeraWolf's getting $9 million per megawatt. Cypher $11 million per megawatt. IREN's getting $16 million per megawatt. You include in on top of that their megawatt pipeline where they possibly could be in the next couple of years, and you can see Bitfarms being way lower on that now, being at only $1 million valuation. Bitdeer same thing. Cleanspark at $1 million. Hive about one. I probably should do this like 1 point something million, but it's about $1 million on the higher side there. Marathon $2 million. Cypher a little bit above that. Core $2 million. Riot $3 million. Then you got IREN and TeraWolf roughly at about $5 million for future megawatt valuation on that. So a lot of these guys are definitely getting a nice premium here. A lot of them are also not getting much of a premium, or actually are undervalued in that regard here. So I do think some of these guys are undervalued more so than others potentially, but also depends on when can they build out, how soon can they build out, what is the timeline on that? Is it next year? Is it in the next 2 years, 3 years? Right, that also affects the price there. Do they currently have customers that are paying for services? And will they get customers, things like that. All of that obviously plays into it as well. All right, that is it. That's all I got for you guys here. Here's the data on all that. As always, and I'll make this available to my Patreon members tomorrow. I'll send this out to you guys like I always do. So that'll include that, the weekly, and I think it will also, Hive's information. If Hive provides their quarterly results tomorrow, that will be coming out on Tuesday. All right, that's it. We'll see where we end up at. Long term, I'm still bullish. Short term, there's going to be pain. We'll see where Bitcoin ends up at, right? Going down to 88,000 would be roughly a 30% correction from the top. So we'll keep an eye on it, see where it goes. And then we'll see if we get any kind of buying opportunities this week. I got cash on the sidelines here ready to go. We'll see if things drop. Then I'll be possibly buying some dips here happening this week. Okay, that's it. Let's get into Q&A here. See what you guys have to say. Excuse me. All right. Go to questions, question marks. Questions, if you guys could always preface those with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate. And I'm going to scroll my way up and work my way down as always, and we'll get through all the questions and comments as we always do. Okay. All right, Dale's got a question here. There we go. Now that BTC fell below the 50-day moving average, do you believe we are entering the bear market? Not yet, no. Because we have done that once before as well. We were below it and then we bounced off of it. So we'll see if we bounce off it. Right. So that's one thing that would show us that we possibly are getting into a bear market. But then we also have other things that are showing us that we haven't really had a really bull run in it. So it's kind of like we have one thing that's kind of possibly pointing to a bear market. And then we have a couple things that are showing that we still haven't really reached that full bull market. So it's kind of hard. But yeah, I mean, time will tell, right? We'll probably know in the next couple of weeks, couple of months, if we're in a bear market or, we're bouncing back up here. RS, hi Seb, what are your thoughts on DGXX? I think it's DigiPower now, right? They seem to be doing a lot better recently. First profitable quarter as well as a good pipeline of megawatts. Thanks. I don't currently have enough information about them to really give you my thoughts on it. I'd have to do some more research on them. What else we had here? Seb, question. Which is better company, IREN versus Nibius? I think IREN might be the better company there. Nibius obviously is getting contracts with people, with customers for co-location, things like that. Whereas IREN, I believe, is building their stuff out more so towards, well, they got a contract with Microsoft as well for a 5-year. But they're also buying the GPUs and doing it a different way. So I think based on that, IREN might be the better company. And I think IREN has also a little bit more growth to go than Nibius does right now. Unless Nibius goes out and gets more megawatts. All right. Desmond Stats, happy Sunday, miner family, ready to make money next week. Hopefully we'll make money over the next couple months, not just next week. Daryl's got a question. If Bitcoin and the miners drop over the next 2 months and will continue to hold and keep dollar cost averaging and continue to accumulate more shares, will I continue to hold? Yeah, I'll probably end up continuing to hold on this unless things really go down south quick here. We'll have to wait and see if we can at least currently hold this area in Bitcoin price, or if we do drop, do we drop down only to like 88,000, maybe 85 at the most, and then bounce from there. If we fall below that, then we'd start to get a little bit more concerned on it. And then also, how do the miners react on that, right? We've seen obviously the miners way outperform Bitcoin here this year, with Bitcoin not going up much high. So are they being valued on Bitcoin, or are they being valued more on the HPCI potential? I think that might be the case there, right? So if they're being valued on HPCI potential, then they possibly would be a longer term hold there, right? So that's kind of the way I would look at it that way. Andre's got a question here. Hi Seb, I read today on X that Berkshire Hathaway invested $504 million in IREN following their recent investment in Alphabet. Did you see, or I did not see anything on that. I might have missed it though, but I did not. But that'd be great if they did. I mean, that would be a huge, I think Google's up like what, 5-6% after hours right now based on that news. So if they did get it, that would be huge. SH, hey Seb, do you know how much power we need to support Vera Rubin GPUs? Let me see. As far as per GPU, we can probably look that up. Let's go here. Vera Rubin GPU power consumption. Okay, let's see here. So AI says NVIDIA's Vera Rubin GPUs are a significant step up in power consumption with individual high-end models like the Rubin Ultra, rumored to reach up to 2,300 watts, 2.3 kilowatts. This is leading to higher rack level power demands, with some estimates for an NVL 144 rack at 100 to 130 kilowatts and higher density racks possible reaching 600. Wow, 600 kilowatts or more to handle the performance. I mean, 2,300 watts. That's, I mean, you're like at the ASIC level of miners there, right? I mean, some of these miners are at like 3,700 watts per unit. So, I mean, you're kind of getting into that power density there on those. As far as how does that compare to the, let's see, how does that compare? NVIDIA Rubin Power versus Blackwell. How does that compare between the two? No, I don't care about performance. I want to know about, let's see. Well, it doesn't say for me. I'm just looking up. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at with it. Okay, we're still on the Q&A here. Hopefully that hasn't frozen. It hasn't frozen, which is good. Okay, going back here. Sadie, thanks so much for the likes. SH Bitfarms is saying they will be the first company to support Vera Rubin GPU 2026. I am trying to find out if the miners' power will be enough to support it. Yeah, it will be, right? It'll depend, obviously, on the build-out of the data center there. If they're targeting Vera Rubin, they're going to do everything that they can to meet those demands on the power requirements. Others can also do that as they're building out, right? You got IREN, Cypher, Cleanspark, Riot, Mara, all those guys. If they're going to be planning on doing data centers towards the end of 2026, they're probably going to be targeting that as well, I would assume. But right now, I think Bitfarms is the only one that has kind of mentioned it. Others haven't mentioned it. So that's kind of what we're going by there right now as it is. All right. Roasted Nuts says miners reaching all-time high by end of December. That would be great. All right. Frozen. Yep. Frozen got that. I did refresh. Okay. All right. Desmicrostat says, I'm looking to get assigned 500 shares of ASST, 600 shares of KULR, and 100 shares of Bitfarms this week. I just need to raise $300. Okay. Seb, can we have a look at the RSI for the miners? For the miners? RSI. Oh, it's the RSI and the miners. Right. What? Yeah, we can do that. That's easy enough. We'll just go through them here right now as it is. That should be easy enough to do. All right. Bitfarms on the daily or the week? Let's do the daily because weekly is still kind of high. Okay. Bitfarms. Down, bouncing off the 100 SMA here at least, right, on Friday. So that was good. And the RSI is at 32, right around there. So that's actually looking pretty good. BitDeer fell below all the levels, 50, 100, and 200 SMAs as well. It's way, way below. It's down here. RSI on the daily is at 26, so that's looking pretty low. Cango, RSI is below 30. This thing is way down as well. I mean, you can see it's been a rough, 3-4 weeks on these guys. Cypher, RSI is at 38. See, at 38, we have bounced off of this level here before, right? So that might be a good sign there. Looking at Cleanspark here, Cleanspark's below 30 as well. It has bounced off of before the 30 mark, right around 33 here. We are still up higher in price than what we were back in early September, so that's at least a good sign there. CORZ, right at the 30 mark there as well. Pretty low. Hive is at below 30 as well, right around 29. 28, 29, something right around there. Hut 8, and this one also fell through the 50 and the 100 simple day moving averages. Hut 8 is at 40 right now. That one fell through the 50 SMA. IREN here is holding pretty good, right at 39 or so. It's possibly, I think it's been the least that has, the one company that has been least dragged down compared to the other ones here. Mara is way below the 30 mark. It's at 23 right now. Last time it was down this low was back in April. So a lot of those gains that we had basically beginning of this year have been wiped out on a lot of these guys here as well. Riot was, let's see, Riot's right around 31, 32 on the RSI. All right, last time it was this price was back in September, so not too much of a decline on that one. Finally, Wolf here. Wolf is at 36, something like that. All right. Let's go back here. SH. And with the new bigger data centers coming to the state regularly, there are unanswered questions on where the data centers will get the water they need to stay cool. These newer data centers, from my understanding, are different. They are more closed loop, right? My understanding is that water supply, whatever's going to be in there to cool those chips, is basically circulated throughout. You're going to need some water for it, but you're going to need to pump continually water into it, I believe. All right. Let's see, Brett, miners are dust, Seb. You might be right? Cycle's over. You might be right there. I'm not sure. We'll find out. Bottom is in. Emergency Fed meeting the other day. Liquidity injection coming soon. Stay tuned. Okay, that would be good. For all the fear and doubt, we're not that far off the highs. Kaz has a question here. Hi, Seb. Thoughts on Ben's interview with Anthony and Bryce there? I have not seen it yet. Had a busy weekend here, so I will refrain from answering it. But I will probably listen to it tonight, depending on what time we get done here. That was my goal here, at least. SH. From the Panhandle to the Rio Grande Valley, Texas water supply is limited. The strain is particularly acute in rural West Texas and other areas of the state that face regular droughts. Right. But that's why I think they're building these sites to be more efficient, not only with water, but also with electricity and things like that. Carl says, my strategy was to exit everything October 24th. I believe once the cycle turns and each stock climbs through 2 resistant levels, I will re-enter. Profit will be less, but will mitigate risk as well. Okay, that's probably not a bad way to play it. Bevany here said, when to buy IREN, Cypher, and Nibius? How low can they go? I want to buy all 3 potentially at their bottoms and ride it up. I wish I knew when the bottom was going to be on these things, right? So one way to play it is to dollar cost average in. As they go down, just buy a little bit more. All right, let's see here. Anthony asks, hi Sebastian, can you please give me your take on Soluna Holdings? Thank you. They have done much, much better with the new CEO here in the last, what has it been, a year and a half to 2 years. Prior to that, they were in, trouble financially there, but it seems like they're starting to work out of it. And the way that they have done that is through going with partnerships. So they've been doing these kind of partnerships where, they're, I don't know what the exact percentages are on those sites that they have, but they are doing much better here as far as what their pipeline. They say they have, a sizable pipeline. Do they have the capital in order to do that, though? That's a big question there without taking on partners again, right? So if you take on partners, then you're reducing the amount that they're going to be making on it. That's kind of where I see things right now without having done full due diligence on them since probably, a year and a half, something like that. I used to cover them more, but they just got into trouble and weren't growing that much. All right, talked about that one. Anon says, see you all in 2 years. Okay. Let's see, Desmond stats. On Ben's interview with Anthony and Bryce, he said they were selling calls on their BTC hodl and made millions from it. Why haven't other miners tried this strategy? That, I don't know, right? I don't know if that's, maybe they view it as more risky. I'm not sure. Anon says, Seb should have sold. He could be right there, probably should have sold, but I have a little bit longer time horizon than maybe more of you guys, or most of you guys do. I also don't trade these things for the most part, as you guys know. I kind of buy into them. The theory was going to be obviously to sell this year if we were going to have a similar cycle of Bitcoin like we have in the past. I'm still not convinced that that is the case here. So that's why I'm still holding, right? Plus the narrative I think has changed in a lot of these guys like IREN, Cypher, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, Riot, Hut 8. All those guys are going into HPCI. I think that changes things as well. That has maybe more legs and more chutzpah to go up higher in the longer term. Short term, obviously, there's going to be volatility, but as they build out and get clients and customers and co-location deals, whatever it might be, they're going to be definitely valued up higher as time progresses, though. All right, let's see. Ben stood 10 toes down in the power mining interview. He pushed back on a ton of those investors that are not anxious to see an immediate deal because they too see the value of their positions go up. Okay. NG, can you give a top-down analysis on Bitfarms earnings and their plans on Washington and other sites? Would want to hold this for the longer term. We did a top-down analysis on the earnings. Earnings were actually not that bad, right? Hash rate's down, obviously, from their sites because they got rid of Argentina's site. They also sold off, obviously, the Paraguay site. So hash rate was down, production was down, revenue was still pretty good though overall. Some things were good. Obviously, the costs on overhead, general administrative were down, so that was good. Other costs were down also a little bit there. They still didn't get a positive EPS because of depreciation and another factor I think that was there. So overall, it wasn't bad. It's kind of more or less what I was expecting. The good, obviously, thing is them building out the Washington site, which is 18 megawatts for HPC-AI. Right, they're targeting the Vera Rubin GPUs from NVIDIA there for next year. So that's good. And then their other sites are obviously a work in progress, but this is basically like the first site they're going to build out unless they get a deal with somebody for a co-location deal at one of their Panther Creek site or Scrubgrass site in Pennsylvania, which we don't know, right? If that happens later on this year, or not this year, but possibly next year. All right. But overall, I think as long as they continue to do this HPCI strategy going forward, and they've done a huge pivot here from where they were basically a year ago to where they are now, and position themselves in the United States more so than other countries. I think that's a good thing going forward. I'm holding on to it right now. We'll see where things end up in the next couple of months, and we'll keep a track of it. We'll see where they go. All right, Rob, from a consumer standpoint, with regards to purchasing of stocks versus Black Friday presents, do people invest stocks first to get gains and then cash out for Black Friday presents? I don't know. Could be. Bethany said, you are right. IREN also has a better management team, and their positions on EPS. Nibius has yet to post a profitable quarter. Okay. Yeah. IREN's had, 3 quarters now profitable? SKS question, has IREN bottomed out? I hope they have, along with everybody else here, but we don't know. Right? Has that sentiment completely changed now since everything's been beaten down so much? Maybe, but IREN obviously held up pretty well here. So maybe. Anon says IREN probably heading to 20s to middle 30s. Yeah, I mean, if the market continues to go down, then it's a possibility. I'm not going to say it's not. Daryl, I had a few shares of Bloom Energy, which has really popped in the last 6 months because of their deal with Oracle. Wish I had more. Well, I mean, hindsight is always 20/20, right? Let's see. And then I will start DCing under 40. Thanks for playing IREN. Okay, nice. Let's see. Maybe need to ask, and are you sure? I want to get into IREN as well, it looks like. What do you see bottom at? Victor's got a question here. Buffett bought big in Google. On the other hand, Peter Thiel sold NVIDIA. Does that mean Buffett has a strong conviction for tech and AI? Peter doesn't. What are your thoughts? I saw that Peter Thiel sold that. He also sold, I think, Tesla as well. And he positioned it into, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it was Google, Microsoft, and somebody else, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I thought I saw that. As far as, does he know something that we don't know? I don't know, right? Nobody really knows on that one. And it wasn't, was it like 72 million, or was it 17 million shares? I can't remember now which one it was. But it was definitely a sizable position there that he took out. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, NVIDIA's had a huge run here, right? So him taking some profits or taking most of his profits off the table is probably not a bad sign there. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know. All right, Rob, sounds like the RSI being in around 30s, that means we are oversold. That means it's time to buy because we are at the bottom. Well, RSI could still continue to go south on us here a little bit while they're still at 30. So we've seen that before as well. All right. Ron, hey, Seb, I hope you're doing well. With the miners moving away from BTC mining, what do you think will be the landscape come next cycle? Landscape as far as miners in this space, I think some of these guys will still continue to mine. Some sites are not probably well positioned for HPCI. Some of them are, but I think it also helps the electricity grid there, right? To have like a quick curtailment happening because you can shut down the miners without a problem. Whereas for HPCI, you kind of need that running up here. So I think there might be a balance between those two business lines potentially. Ron, is your investment strategy also shifting towards HPCI and away from BTC? Well, luckily my strategy was with going after the great performers in BTC, right? Growth. Obviously, megawatts were a large part of that as well because you need a lot of megawatts for that. So that has continued to be the strategy that I originally did. But now that we're seeing some of these guys with huge portfolios like IREN, right, Cypher, Riot, Cleanspark, their Bitfarms as well, those are changing into more HPCI business side of things, which I think is going to be well for us in the long run. Early to tell right now. Obviously, they've done really, really well this year compared to Bitcoin. So maybe that has changed around already, but we'll see. All right. Okay. Shambam, currently which miner or which is better to buy, IREN or Cleanspark? I think Cleanspark is more undervalued than IREN is right now. IREN, obviously, I still think can do 2 to 3x here. Cleanspark, I think should be at least probably like 3x from where it is right now as it is. So, I mean, they're both, I like them both. That's why I own them both, to be honest with you. IREN might have a little bit more potential here in the next year because of the sites they do have that will be energized next year as well, whereas Cleanspark might be able to turn some of their sites around as well for next year, but those would be a redo on those sites. So I don't know. It's pick your poison there, I guess. Anthony says, thank you, Seth, for your take on Soluna. You're very welcome. And yeah, you just got to do your research on them. It seems like recently they've been kind of manipulated. Not a lot of shares out there, easy to manipulate the stock. So just obviously do your due diligence. Ajit, Seb, what do you think about Canon's upcoming earnings? Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't do a full analysis on them. Right, I've been kind of keeping an eye on how they're doing more or less compared to Bitcoin and things like that, but I have no idea how they're going to do on that one. All right. And it says IREN is always a better buy than Cleanspark. Always better. At times, Cleanspark was better, but that's going back to when was that? 2024? When Cleanspark had a really, really nice run, outran everybody, and then, right, came back down. But so I wouldn't say always, but yes, recently here, yes, I would say IREN, yeah. The Athlete's Edge says Bitfarms to the moon. I hope that's the case. And then at any time since March 2024. Yeah, so you're kind of saying the same thing that I'm there, yeah. Rob, John Curtis earlier in the chat had made mention of a deal made between Hive and Dell. I wonder if that's a good or bad, Seb. Deal for HPC, I think that would be probably for their sites in Canada, which they're partnering with Canada Bell, I think it is, right, to build out sovereign HPC or AI. All right. Who has more potential in share price, IREN or Nibius? I would believe that's IREN. Compared to where Nibius is valued at right now, and IREN, I think IREN has more room to run. All right. Let's see. DesMicroStats says BITF started a position on ASST, and even though I don't like the guy, his picks are pretty solid. I like Mike, right? He can be a little controversial on X and things like that with some of his comments and things like that. But I think, he stands what he stands for, and he's not going to bow down to anybody. So I like that about him. Plus, he's also been, pretty right as well for the most part. He's got a good track record. Victor, IREN and Cypher are growth stocks, longer term hold makes sense. I would agree with you there. But in Cypher, IREN and Nibius targets end of 2026 if the AI bubble goes away. Well, if the markets go up, by end of 2026 here, I have no idea, right? It depends on how quickly they can build out, how many customers they can get, all that stuff. That's unknown, but, could we see at least a 2x on some of these guys here? I would think so. Okay, sorry, I had to take a sip of water. Throat drying out here. Rob, thank you so much for that. Zeno, fat head and shoulders pattern on Bitfarms on the 3-month. I see it going up to the low 3s and dumping after that unless crazy good news happens by the end of formation or earlier. Okay. SK, what is your CAN price target end of year? CAN for Canon? Again, I don't track them well enough to really know where they could possibly be going or how they're doing. So I'll refrain from answering that one. Let's see. Rob asks, John Curtis, did you mean Dell or Bell making the deal with Hive? Typo, right? Yeah, that's why I said Canada Bell, right? Might be the deal there. Apex Drift, at what point will you sell out of the miners? The BTC has 2-week closes below the 50 SMA and goes lower along with the SPY. Will you sell out of the miners or hold them into the bear market? Again, will they follow Bitcoin into the bear market, or will they more or less chop on, well, if S&P goes into the bear market, markets go in the bear market, then I mean, we're going to be in a bear market anyways. I mean, we'll have to keep an eye on it, see where things go. I'm still up nicely on all this stuff, right? I'm still up, what am I up on IREN as of last week? I haven't even looked at it. I know I'm up. Let's take a look. Let's see. Pull up my info here. Where are we up? Okay. So on IREN, I'm still up 473%. Cleanspark 97%. Cypher 159%, and Bitfarms 63%. So I'm up still nicely on these guys here. Do I think that there's more room for them in the next year to 2 years? Yeah, I do think so. Would I be holding on to them for that long? I didn't want to really hold them on for that long. But the thing is, like I said before, I don't need the money that's in there. The money that's in there is, obviously to build wealth. Yes, you could probably build wealth also by selling at certain points and buying in at lower prices. I suck at that. I know it, so I'm not even going to try that. The only thing that I know that I can do is if things come down and I have conviction in these companies, the management, I have faith in those as well, then I'll continue to do dollar cost average into it for, the next year or 2 years, wherever that might be. That's just kind of my plan right now. I could be doing it completely wrong. Time will tell. But right now, it's kind of worked out pretty good here, even if I take profits right now if I was to do that. All right. CSH. Organizations planning AI infrastructure for 2027 and beyond must make decisions now about facility locations, power, procurement, and cooling architecture. Yeah, because some of this stuff is definitely long lead items there for sure. BS, Bitfarms, or IREN. What do you buy now? I would buy, to be honest with you guys, probably IREN. If you don't have anything in here right now, I would probably get into IREN. Majority of that would go into IREN, and a small portion would go into Bitfarms. That's the way I would go. IREN is obviously queen in the space right now. Andrea, question. Seb, Edge of Power on X posted the investment of Berkshire into IREN of 11,345,688 million shares for 510 million posted. Oh, yesterday, quoting it was a logical next step for Berkshire. That's interesting that they are. If they did that, we should get a filing for that. I think, maybe not, depending on what the percentage would be of IREN shares there. 11 million on IREN shares, which is around, 200 some odd million, close to 300 million. That would be less than 1%, I think. Right? Is my math right in my head? 10% would have been, yeah, I think it's like under 1%, maybe yeah. What is that going to be? How many shares does IREN have right now? Last reported, IREN had, going on top, 283 million shares. So if they got 11 million, was it 11,345? So let's just do calculator. 11,345 divided by 200. What was that? 283. 283 million. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Okay, so that would be 4%. It looks like. So that'd be 4% of, so they would be still under that, I think it's 5% of which one you have to report. So they would be under that threshold if that's the case. And that would be huge news. But how is IREN doing here after hours? Is that, it's still up only 3% plus or minus here, more or less 3.8. Yeah, but that would be great news if they did do it. All right. Victor asks, if Bitcoin stays at 95,000, could IREN and Cypher still run up? Yeah, if you get people believing in the AI space, right, data center build out, that it's going to be obviously very profitable going forward for them, then yes, I do believe that these guys could still potentially run up here. Plus, if they announce a deal or something like that, stocks are going to run up at that point. All right, Des Market Stats, Bitfarms is also a growth stock. I believe they have more growth in the pipeline. They do. I believe their total pipeline for current megawatts and future megawatts is like 2 to like 2.5 gigawatts. See, Brett says, you ain't building wealth with miners, Seb. They're no longer miners. They're getting into HPC AI. Buy BTC spot. I have that and hold it. I'm doing that right now. I've held on to it since 2017. And these companies are poop turds. Well, they've had a huge run up here because of Bitcoin, and, well, not because of Bitcoin, but because of BTCI, because of AI possibilities there. All right, finding Asheville. I thought that IREN post was satire. Yeah, maybe Berkshire IREN news was satire. Pretty sure. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Without having actual SEC filings or actual press release, right? You kind of have to take what you see on X with a grain of salt. Rob, anyone shorting the market now when the RSI is at around 30 is not too smart. They can still try and bring it down a little bit more. What's crazy is Berkshire still has billions of free cash ready. Yeah, they do. Yep. So we'll see. And when is Buffett stepping down? Isn't it later on this year that he's stepping down, or did he already step down? I think maybe he did step down already, and somebody else is taking over there. All right. Sar says, I just got here. What's the IREN Berkshire news? It might be misinformation on X, right? We're waiting on confirmation from either a press release or something like that, or a filing for the SEC on it. So I wouldn't go around spreading it until we actually get verification on it. But that'd be great news if they did buy into it. I mean, that'd be definitely a huge vote of confidence for the company there. All right. All right, we'll see how tomorrow goes. Right now, the miners are still doing pretty good. And after hours, we'll see how they do tomorrow. We'll see how Bitcoin does. We'll see if the whole AI bubble hoopla is going to be over with. All right, people are just, things had a nice run up here. We needed to bring them down, and that was one way they could bring them down with was that kind of narrative, unfortunately. All right, that is it. Love you all. Thanks for coming in. So thank you so much for coming in, as always. I hope you guys have a great week. Hopefully, the miners do better than what we have seen here this past week. It was definitely, lousy. And then Andre says, sounds like a scam based on the small amount. Yeah, so just be careful on anything that you read on X. Obviously, verify all that stuff. And Essie says, I have a feeling Bitfarms will approach 3 gigawatts by the second quarter of 2026. FERC will provide more gigawatts. If FERC does, then that'd be great. Yeah. Okay. And then let me see here. We got one more from Bob C coming in here. The final one here. I saw that X post on IREN Berkshire, double checked on Grok. It's not true. Okay. Yeah. So always take what you see on X with a grain of salt unless you have reliable sources, right? If you have reliable sources that are, I wouldn't say 100% accurate, but close to that, then you can possibly go with those types of things. All right. That's it. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. And until then, bye.